Okay, so today we got a ZeroTurn is needing some 50-hour maintenance. So what we're going to do today is we're going to check the spark plugs, replace them if necessary, clean them if possible, check the valves, change the oil, air filter, the fuel filter, and then we'll air up the tires. We'll also sharpen the blades. I have a hose here coming from the crankcase right here. Okay, so now we're going to remove the overhead valve cover so we can check the valve clearances. Now we got to do it twice because there's one on the other side too. This is a it has two pistons. So the gasket ripped, so we'll have to use sealant. We'll have to use Permatex. Alright, so now we're going to take out the spark plug. The reason I'm taking out the spark plug is it'll make it easier to turn the crank over by hand up here if I have the spark plugs out, because there won't be any compression. The reason it's so important to check your valves is it can damage your crankshaft if these are out of tolerance for too long and break the decompression valve. See if I can keep from ripping this one. Nope, broke right off. Alright, so this is a Kawasaki engine, so it's a bit different than a Briggs & Stratton engine. But it is 4/1000ths gap is what we have to have. Okay, so with Briggs & Stratton you have a locking bolt or nut here with a torque screw, and that's how you adjust it. But with the Kawasaki you have a locking nut on the bottom here, so that locks it, and your adjustment is on top. You put your 4/1000ths in the gap and then you start to tighten the top. I'm going to put a 7 in there. We don't want the 7 to go at all. I think that's good. So now we're going to tighten the bottom back up. Now I'm going to check it with 7, make sure the 7 does not go in. It doesn't go in. Now we're going to rotate the valve so this one, it will be all the way closed. So this one will come out and this one will be pushed in. Now we'll check the tolerance on this one. 4/1000 goes in. So does 7, so we got to adjust that one too. And then we'll do the same exact thing on the other side, but I'm not going to film it. Okay, so I've kind of cleaned up the oil in the pan a little bit in the cover. We're going to take off the rest of the gasket here. They've used sealant on this somehow or another when they installed it. I've got them all cleaned up. Got the old gasket off. I'm going to use Permatex Ultra Black to reseal it. And so you just put a bead around it, all the way around the holes. Okay, so I got both cylinders done. So you can see maybe here, cylinder 2, cylinder 1. On this particular engine, it matters which side it goes on. In Briggs, it doesn't. You can interchange them. So I got the seat here cleaned also. I jacked it up a little bit to keep the oil from running down onto the seal until after it has a chance to dry. Use my impact wrench just to kind of get them started, I think. So you don't want to tighten them too tight. You just want to tighten them until you start to see the sealant coming out. Okay, so now we're going to clean the spark plug. So we're just going to heat it up until it gets red hot. It's hard to tell on the spark plug whether it gets red hot or not, but on the spark arrestor on they're starting to get red hot. Yeah, I guess it's dark enough today that you can do that. And what happens is it burns off all that carbon, so you can clean it up real easy. I've let them cool a bit, so I'm going to check the gap on them. We want 30/1000 to go in, and 35 should not. That is correct. Let's see if this one's, oh, it's still a little warm. 30/1000 goes in, 35 should not. That's correct. Put the spark plug back in. Try not to spill a bunch of gas. Okay, then next is we'll get the air filter. That was loose. So Alright, we're going to have to clean this up a bit. This is a mess. Okay, so that's cleaned up a little bit. Got a new filter. It's also got the foam dust cover over it. Put the bracket back on the hose clamp. Alright, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take out the oil filter. I'm going to put a rag down here because I'm sure it's going to make a mess. This is a pretty tight one here. I think I'm going to have to take this off. Yep. Okay, I got some clean oil on my finger here. I'll put it around the O-ring, and then we'll try to, just keeps oozing oil down there. Finally, I'm going to put that nut back onto that hose down here. But I'm not going to fill it with oil today because I got this tilted, jacked up a little bit. There's the jack. So the oil will stay away from the seals on the valve covers. But I don't want to forget to put the nut on when I pour oil in. So I'll put that in now. And then tomorrow I'll put oil in it. Today I'm going to change out the belt, sharpen the blades. The belt here is pretty warm. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see that in the video. But then a little nicks in it all over the place. What we had that kind of just sitting there somewhere. And I bet that was knocking it around and getting pinched in there. Surprising it knocked the belt off. Okay, so now we're going to try to remove this bracket, this bolt. I would imagine this is a locking nut down here. Let's hope. Okay, so now we have to move this out of the way so the belt will come off. There is a square hole right here that your ratchet will fit into, and then you can move it out of the way. So I can't really get the camera in a good angle so you can see it because I've got too many things going on, but it was best to take it off this pulley here. That worked best. Okay, so we'll put on the new belt now. I kind of eyeball measured it with the other belt. It seems like it's the right size. So. Okay, so we're underneath the mower on the back end where the pulley is, the clutch. This is a electric clutch, and so we'll wrap that on first. One thing that you should always try to do is make sure that the V of the belt goes in the V's of the pulley and the flat of the belt goes in the flats of the pulleys. The only problem with this one is both sides have V's and both pulleys are V's. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is sharpen the blades. So I need to get the blades off. So I'm going to raise up the mower with the mower jack. I've noticed that some people don't know how blades go on. And they put them on upside down. There is a direction they have to go. So your sharp blade is going to be on the downside. And then this acts as like a fan, and it sucks the grass up. That's why it's curved. Now, another way to remember it is as you're trying to remove the blade, your hand is going to be on the sharp part of the blade. Recognize it is dull right now, so it won't cut you. But if you get it backwards and you try to tighten it, and you have to hold that sharp portion of the blade, it will cut you. Okay, so I've sharpened the blade and sharp. The thing you want to make sure is after you sharpen them, or even before you sharpen them, might tell you need a new blade, is that the blade is balanced. So you can simply stick a screwdriver through it, and if it stays level like that, then you know it's balanced. If one side starts to fall down, then you know you have an off-balance blade, and that particular side, the side that fell down, has too much metal on it compared to the other side. So if you're going to try to sharpen it, you need to make sure that you grind this down further to get it to come in balance. But some of them you see are pretty bad. I mean, you'll get one like that. It's kind of cockeyed a little bit. You can fix that one pretty easy by taking off more material on this side. But when you see them like this, it's hopeless. Get a new blade. Okay, so again, we want the blade on the downside. So I don't know how to explain that any better, but as you can see, the tilt is that way. So the blade goes on the downside. And now you can see my hand is on the dull side as I try to tighten it. But you want to be careful that your wrench doesn't slip, because you could just cut yourself over there. So if you'll click this up next box, it'll take you to a video where I was working on something. Thanks for watching.